It's been nearly 7 years since Harry Wilson left Chicago, Illinois, where he was born and raised. It was after graduation, Harry decided he wanted to take a break and travel across the states. Of course, his parents weren't too happy about Harry putting off his studies, and kept urging him to get enrolled into college. So the following year, after a small tour around the States, Harry decided to settle in New York City. He wanted to change things up a bit, start a new life in a new environment. Harry enrolled into the SA University there and was having the time of his life. He made new friends and dated a few women over the years. It was a few months ago that Harry received his master's degree. His parents were delighted that Harry had come so far. They wanted Harry to visit them back at home in Chicago before getting back to his busy life. So Harry returned to Chicago for a month on vacation. After about a week at his parents' house, with each of those days going by and meeting relatives, young and old, and having them poke their nose in his business, ask pushy questions, and annoy him, Harry had just about enough of the nostalgia. He was considering returning to New York, and even spoke to his mother about it. She immediately reassured him she wouldn't invite his weird cousins over, and a few more days with Mom and Dad wouldn't be that bad. Harry was about to refuse the offer when he looked into his mother's emotionally blackmailing eyes and couldn't say no. But there was no way Harry was staying at home. He spent most of his time outside. Most of the shops and stores were closed or replaced with new ones he didn't recognize. The park was no longer the park he rode his skateboard in, and neither was the lakeside that now had guardrails all around it. It was all except for one small coffee shop that seemed to be the way it was 7 years ago. Harry went inside. The aroma of freshly roasted coffee beans hit him. Grabbing a cup of coffee, Harry walked out towards the lakeside. He found a relaxing place to sit a bit far off towards the woods. He thought he would enjoy the peace and quiet alone, but as he sipped on his coffee, he suddenly noticed someone else a bit far off in the woods. She was taking a walk by the shore. "Don't I know you?" "Harry? Harry Wilson? It's Elizabeth Bennet." Harry scratched his head. "I feel like I've seen you, but I can't really remember exactly where we met." "Lizzie! We went to SA High School together." "Lizzie? Now I remember. Nice, how have you been?" "Just ordinary life in Riverside, but I haven't seen you around. Where have you been?" Harry and Elizabeth got talking about their high school years. About an hour had gone by before Harry started getting bombarded by calls from his mother again. He felt a little embarrassed and asked Elizabeth to lunch one afternoon. Elizabeth agreed and they exchanged their phone numbers. In the following days, phone numbers were the smallest of things they would exchange. One little meeting from brunch at the nearby seafood restaurant led to a walk in the park, a day at the movies, a dinner by the beach, a visit at home, and so much more. Harry enjoyed spending time with Elizabeth, and before he even realized it, it had been nearly 3 weeks since he had been in Riverside. Harry and Elizabeth started meeting every day, texting all the time, and not a single night went by without talking for hours on the phone. So Harry, when will you be returning to New York? Oh, New York? Actually, Dad, I was thinking of getting an apartment here. I've applied to some jobs at the SA News Corporation too. It's not us, Jerry. Don't get your hopes up. Your son's been seeing this girl. That's why you suddenly want to stay in Chicago, isn't that right, Harry? Mom, do you have to embarrass me? Why don't you bring her over for dinner? Are you crazy? Not yet. Harry rented a small apartment and conveniently landed a job as a business analyst at the SA News Corporation. He started dating Elizabeth, and the relationship progressed rapidly. It was like the two had known each other forever. After a few months, Harry asked Elizabeth to move in with him. Things were going great. Harry loved seeing Elizabeth by his side every morning he woke up and every night before he closed his eyes. Elizabeth made him happy. She was a solace in his life, keeping him settled and not on the run like he was before. But it was after he started living with Elizabeth that he picked up on some peculiar habits that she had. He found them a bit strange, but he never confronted her about them, supposing everyone had a few weird things about themselves. However, the peculiarity about Elizabeth wasn't something that they would agree or disagree upon. It was just abnormal. Elizabeth wasn't really an outgoing person. Although Harry and Elizabeth had a great bond, Elizabeth only had a few friends. But Harry never actually got to meet them. He noticed that they did come over, but for some reason, they never introduced themselves to him, and Elizabeth didn't talk about them that often. Like the one time when Harry came home, he thought he was alone. He was walking to the kitchen when he noticed someone in the kitchen. He was sure he spotted someone, not Elizabeth. There could be no doubt. The girl had blonde hair and Elizabeth wasn't a blonde. He hurried across the hall and went to check the kitchen. But there Elizabeth was putting together a sandwich. You're home early? Yeah. I was about to ask you, are there any guests home? No. Why? But I thought I saw a girl. Oh, you probably saw Cassandra. She's my friend. She left just now. I didn't see her leave. Never mind. I'm getting freshened up. Can you make me a sandwich as well? But that was only the start to strange things Harry was to notice. Harry was sure he saw someone enter the kitchen, but when did she leave? He was standing right there in the hall. Then there was the creepy full moon nights. No doubt the full moons were beautiful, and there wasn't any issue with having a fascination with them either. But something about Elizabeth seemed off every time. Harry would wake up in the middle of the night and see Elizabeth not by his side. It wasn't often, and Harry hadn't really figured she only disappeared on the full moon nights until A few months after, well, to be fair, Elizabeth didn't actually disappear. She only went up to the roof or out on the fire escape. The first time it happened, Harry went crazy searching for her, until she showed up 10 minutes later. The second time, Harry found her returning in the kitchen from the fire escape. But the last incident was the time that triggered Harry the most. He couldn't get his mind around it. In the middle of the night, he was up, walking around the house in search for Elizabeth. He guessed she would be on the roof when he found the front door slightly ajar. Harry made his way there. He almost skipped a beat when he saw Elizabeth sitting with her legs off the other side of a 10-story building. Elizabeth's dark hair seemed darker than usual. It blew in the wind. Was it beautiful, or was it scary? But the night was still. There was not a breeze in the atmosphere, not a cloud in the sky, nor did a leaf move from its place, but Elizabeth's hair waved from side to side. Harry yelled out in panic, "Elizabeth, what are you doing? You're going to fall." Elizabeth simply got down and headed back downstairs. "Let's go, Harry. It's getting late." Harry found the habits unusual and a bit frightening, thinking about how dangerous it could become. But it wasn't an everyday thing, and most of the time he spent with Elizabeth, she was absolutely normal. Just the other day, Harry got an email from his high school. It was an invitation to a high school reunion for the class of 2012. Harry was excited to go, forwarded the email to Elizabeth and planned to go with her. But as soon as he spoke of it, Elizabeth was reluctant. "Harry, high school reunions, are you serious? I was about to tell you not to go." "Why not? It'll be fun. We'll get to meet some of our old buddies." "No, Harry, high school reunions are stupid. I don't have a lot of good memories from back then. I'm not going." "Come on, Elizabeth, don't be like that." "No, Harry, I'm not going, and I don't want you to go either." Harry found it a bit odd how Elizabeth didn't want to go. Why was she so reluctant about it? Did something happen back then when they were in high school that he was unaware of? Or was it someone she didn't want to meet again? Harry agreed with Elizabeth at first, but numerous thoughts ran through his mind that he couldn't put aside, and he decided to go to the reunion himself. That night, he told Elizabeth he would be working late. And he went to the reunion. He met a few of his old friends. Most of them were still single, but some of them got married and a crazy few even had kids. It felt like a high school dance all over again. Harry was pouring himself a cup of punch when someone tapped his shoulder. He turned around and froze when he saw Elizabeth, the girl that he went to high school with. "Elizabeth? Elizabeth, Wow, you remember me? That's so sweet. Thought I'd be all alone when I came back to Chicago." Harry furrowed his brows. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, sorry. I totally lost contact after you moved. A month after I moved to California, I got a great job. I fell in love with the place and decided that's where I wanted to be, I'm planning on buying a loft there, settling down. But when I got the invite to the reunion, I got so nostalgic, I had to make a trip back to Chicago. What about you? Did you move back or you came from New York? Harry couldn't understand why Elizabeth was putting on this act. As the night went on and Harry realized this Elizabeth and his Elizabeth weren't the same person. This wasn't his girlfriend. Her touch felt foreign to him. She wasn't aware of anything. She wasn't even in Chicago for the past 8 years. Elizabeth Bennet from his high school days had been in California. But if that was the case, then who has he been living with? It was about 11 when Harry returned back home, parked his car wondering about each and every day he spent with Elizabeth since he had been back. Was it all false? Or was he living with someone else? Harry slowly opened his bedroom door. The room was empty. Elizabeth's things were still where they were. Harry was about to call her out when he noticed a note on the dressing table. It read, "You shouldn't have gone to the reunion." Harry held the note in his hand. Hours had gone by since he had been reading it over and over again, pondering on what had just happened to him. He waited for Elizabeth to return, whoever she was, the girl he fell in love with. She never did. She never returned.
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and family.